Welcome to IRA's online classes. Now this session we'll go for an exercise on synonyms. The last session we did something on antonyms. This session we'll go for something on synonyms. The same approach. We'll find out the word that is similar, that is the meaning similar to that of the word given in the question. Understand the meaning of a sentence given. We were taken aback at the fulsome praise heaped upon a former enemy. We're taken aback, shocked enough. We were taken aback at the fulsome praise heaped upon a former enemy. Fulsome praise means more than what is required, right? Which is excessive, beyond what is required. As more than what is required, negatively charged. The options are elaborated, extravagant, excessive, exorbitant. Elaborated means to add more information to something. Now in the case of an essay, right, that a topic will be given and mentioned elaborate. That means to add more information to something, to explain it, positively charged. We need a negative word. Option A is eliminated. Extravagant is exceeding what is reasonable. Extravagant means like being very lavish, spendthrift, not related to the word given in the question, eliminated. Excessive means more than necessary. More than necessary means more than enough or more than what is required. That is the meaning of fulsome praise. Praise is a noun, fulsome is an adjective. In fact, all the options are adjectives. Fulsome praise means more than what is required. That means more than necessary must be considered. Exorbitant is unreasonably high. Unreasonably high means not based on logic. Here we're talking about more than what is required. Eliminated. The answer must be option C. We were taken aback at the excessive praise heaped upon a former. The next one. You may think first that it is cure to talk of having too much paper money, and that money is so nice and useful that it cannot have too much of it. It means money. Pronoun I understand. You may think first that it is cure to talk of having too much paper money, and that money is so nice and useful that it cannot have too much of it. The options are, now here it is negatively charged. The options are ridiculous, absurd, anomalous, odd. All are negatively charged words. Ridiculous means extremely silly, right? Not based on reason, right? Not based on logic, illogical. Absurd is inappropriate, almost the same as ridiculous. Inappropriate means like illogical, not apt or not appropriate. Anomalous is deviating from what is expected. Deviating from what we expect is termed as anomalous. That means we get what we don't get what we expect, we get something else. Deviating from what is expected. Odd is different to what is usual. Now the question is, you may think that it's cure to talk of having too much paper money. Means you may think that it is not proper to talk about proper in the sense, it is not cure to talk of having too much paper money. That means it is not something that is common. It means possessing too much of paper money is not something common. The answer must be odd, different to what is usual. So possessing too much of paper money is different from what is usual, means different from what is common. So here the answer must be odd. So you may think first that it is odd or not proper, not common to talk of having too much paper money, and that money is so nice and useful that it cannot have too much of it. The next one. The government is under no obligation to offer contracts. No obligation means like without any obligation. The government is under no obligation to offer contracts to companies which choose to flout guidelines. Which choose to flout guidelines. Flout guidelines in the sense like not abiding by the guidelines, not following the guidelines. That is the meaning of this sentence. The sentence is negatively charged because the government is under no obligation to offer contracts. No obligation to offer contracts means the government does not want to offer contracts to companies which don't abide by the guidelines, which don't follow the guidelines. So we want an option that has a meaning like not following or not abiding by. The options are condemn, ignore, defy, neglect. Condemn in the sense express complete disapproval or hatred, dislike. Ignore is disregard intentionally. Disregarding, not taking into consideration intentionally is ignore. Defy is refusing to obey. That means like saying no to something. Defying. Saying no to something means like refusing to obey. Refusing to obey means refusing to follow, refusing to abide by, refusing to agree to the norms, guidelines, rules and all. Neglect is fail to care for properly. Failing to care for properly is neglecting. So we want a meaning like not following, not abiding by. That meaning comes with defy, refusing to obey. So government is under no obligation to offer contracts to companies which choose to defy guidelines. That means which choose not to go by guidelines. That means just choose not to follow guidelines. Companies which choose not to abide by the guidelines, that meaning comes with defy. The next one. Soon he felt uncomfortable, for the coach was now, coach means a bus kind of thing, van. Soon he felt uncomfortable, for the coach was now moving over a rugged road. Now here, for conveys a meaning like because. Why did he feel uncomfortable? The reason is, the coach was now moving over a rugged road. The sentence is negatively charged and we have a negative reason and a negative result. So rugged is a negative word. Rugged road is a noun, rugged is an adjective. So word that we go for to replace the word rugged must also be an adjective. It must also be negatively charged. The options are rough, uneven surface. The coach was moving over a rough road, correct? Yes, roads can be uneven, right? Roads can be uneven, a lot of gutters and all, speed breakers, gutters and all. Makes sense. Narrow means a small width. Yeah, we will feel uncomfortable. We may or may not feel uncomfortable when the coach moves over a narrow path or narrow road. So narrow, the opposite is like broad or wide. Here we want a word as a meaning of similar to that of rugged. Narrow means like of small width. It is not a synonym of rugged, eliminated. Dusty, covered in a dust, not at all related to the word rugged, eliminated. Sturdy cannot be referred to a road in fact. Strongly and solidly built, sturdy person. One who is strongly and solidly built can be called a sturdy person. Nowhere related to a rugged road, eliminated. The answer must be A. Soon he felt uncomfortable, for the coach was now moving over a rough road, a rugged road. Negatively charged adjective. Indians exhibited means like portrayed, presented. Indians exhibited a remarkable solidarity at the time of war. This sentence is positively charged because remarkable is something that is of course positive. Remarkable achievement that deserves praise, praiseworthy, that deserves mention. Indians exhibited remarkable solidarity. Solidarity is a noun, it's an ITY word. So option that we go for must also be a noun, synonym. Solidarity at the time of war. The options are coalition, cooperation, unification, unity. Coalition is a temporary alliance for combined action. Now, at the time of war, what we do, what the Indians do must never be temporary. It must be a permanent one. We should stand together. That's the meaning of the sentence. In a way, when compared to the context, option A is negative, coalition is eliminated. Cooperation is working together for a common cause. Indians exhibit remarkable cooperation. That means other times we don't cooperate. Leave it. Unification is the process of being united into a whole. The process of bringing things together. The process of uniting things is termed as unification. In this sentence, we are not talking about the process of bringing the Indians together. This one is eliminated. Unity, ity word noun, all are nouns actually, ion words nouns. Unity, the state of being united. The state of being united is termed as unity, and this is what we want. Indians exhibit a remarkable unity at the time of war. That means the state in which the Indians were at the time of war is the meaning of this sentence. The state in which the Indians were at the time of the war is the meaning of the sentence, and that meaning comes with the word unity. The answer must be D. Indians exhibit a remarkable unity, solidarity at the time of war. That means we can never get separated. At the time of war, Indians are together. Indians are one. That's the meaning. A great statesman is actuated by love of his country. This sentence is of course positively charged. We're talking about a great statesman, and by love of his country, the sentence is positively charged. Actuated is we're getting stirred up to do something. That means getting motivated to do something, possessing the interest to do something, feeling like doing something. That is actuated, right? A great statesman is actuated by love of his country. The love of his country makes him or motivates him or inspires him to do something. That is the meaning of this sentence. So we need a word that has a meaning like inspired, motivated, and all, right? We want a word that conveys a meaning like inspired or motivated. The options are, the sentence of course positively charged. The options are compelled, induced, impelled, persuaded. Compelling means forcing someone to do something, negatively charged. That means he does not want to do that. We make him do that. Apply force onto him. Forcefully done is compelling. Negatively charged, option A is eliminated. Induced is succeed in persuading. Persuading means like following. Does not fit this context, eliminated. Impelled is a desire to do something. The desire or the wish to do something. When do we get a desire or a wish to do something? Only when we are inspired. Only when we get motivated or inspired, we get the desire or wish to do something. This one fits this context. Leave. Persuaded is to convince someone to do or think. Persuade means to encourage, right? The love of his country does not encourage him to do something. The love of his country inspires him or motivates him to do something. That is the meaning of the sentence. Persuade is eliminated. The answer must be impelled. A great statesman is impelled by love of his country. Passive voice. Is impelled is plus V3, and by comes in the passive voice. Got it? A great statesman is receiving the action, and the doer here is love of his country. The next one. Impelled is a verb here. It's always is plus V3, right? So all these are verbs. The next one. The cutting curved sharply, and in the darkness, the black entrance to the tunnel loomed up menacingly. Negatively charged, right? The cutting curved sharply, understand the meaning, a sharp curve. And in the darkness, the black entrance to the tunnel loomed up menacingly. That means it was causing some kind of threat to us, right? As it was very dark, we couldn't see the tunnel properly. So the black entrance to the tunnel loomed up menacingly means it seemed to us like a threat, and in the darkness. The black entrance to the tunnel seemed to us like a threat in the darkness is a meaning of the sentence. The options are harmfully, imminently, dangerously, threateningly. Harmfully means in a way that causes harm. Now the black tunnel cannot do any harm to us, in fact. It causes a threat to us, right? For instance, the manholes on the road are a threat to the riders or the drivers. A is gone. Imminently does not fit this context at all. Imminently means like happening soon or very soon. The imminent consequence, that means what the consequence that is going to happen very soon in the near future, does not fit this context. Eliminated. Dangerously, in a way that is likely to cause problems, makes sense. Threateningly, in a way that expresses threat. We are talking about the way it expresses threat, because in the darkness, the black entrance to the tunnel loomed up menacingly means threateningly. It was like a threat to us. So where the better option here is threateningly when compared to dangerously. Eliminate. Dangerously is gone, the answer must be threateningly. The cutting curved sharply, and the darkness, the black entrance to the tunnel loomed up threateningly. It was like a threat to us. The next one. Had he delivered his speech without a long and winding preamble, people would have understood him better. This is a conditional sentence. Conditional sentence. Had he delivered his speech is the same as if he had delivered his speech. Had he delivered his had plus V3 followed by would have plus V3. The third rule in the topic conditional sentences is completely fine. When the clause contains had plus V3, it must be accompanied by would have, could have, must have or might have plus V3. Now understand the meaning of a sentence. Had he delivered his speech without a long and winding preamble, people would have understood better. Pre is a prefix meaning before. Preamble is a statement made before the exact body of the matter, right? Like an introduction, right? Introduction is what that comes before the exact body of the matter. When you go for an essay, first comes the introduction. Anyway, it must be the introduction. Then comes the body of the letter. In the introduction paragraph, we just give some gist of what the essay is gonna be. Right? The options are digression, introduction, explanation, background. Digression, DI, the action of moving away from the main topic. The action of moving away from the main topic is called digression. According to the context, he is not digressing from the topic. He just gave a long and winding preamble. Right? So this one does not fit this context. Option A is eliminated. Introduction is making something known for the first time. Preamble is introduction, what comes before the body of the matter. Must be considered. Explanation is a statement that makes something clear, that comes in the body. In introduction, we know we'll never go for explanation. The explanation comes in the body of the matter. We're talking about a long and winding preamble, so explanation is eliminated. Background, the ground, scenery located behind something, like a backdrop. We're not talking about any kind of backdrop here or background here. We're talking about the introduction, the preamble. D is eliminated, the answer must be B. Had he delivered his speech without a long and winding introduction, people would have understood him better. The next one. His impeccable style caught the attention of all the critics. Now we can get the attention of others only if our speech is flawless. That means only if our speech doesn't have any errors or mistakes, right? Faultless. Impeccable is a positive word. IM is not a negative prefix here. I told you this while discussing prefixes as well. The options are faultless, inoffensive, upright, harmless. His impeccable style caught the attention of all the critics. Faultless means free from defect or error. Free from defects or error is termed as impeccable, without any mistake, right? Faultless or flawless must be considered. Positively charged, impeccable is positive, faultless is also positive because of double negation. Inoffensive, not harmful. We're not talking about his style that is not harmful. We are talking about a style that is free of errors. Right? So inoffensive is gone. Upright means strictly honorable or honest. Honest means like being very straightforward. right? Impeccable in the sense like faultless, without any errors, eliminated. Harmless is the same as inoffensive, eliminated. The answer must be option A. His faultless style, adjective. Impeccable style, adjective. His faultless style caught the attention of all the critics. The next one, we should not look down on. This is the underlined part. We should not look down on people who are not educated. Looking down on people is something negative. That means we should not think that people who are not educated are people without any value. We should never think that way. In fact, people who are not educated may be more intelligent than people who are educated. So we should not look down on people who are not educated. It means we should not think that people who are illiterate or not educated are people without value. The options are dislike, despise, disown, denounce. Dislike means a feeling of disapproval, hatred. We should not hate people who are not educated. Despise means regard as negligible or worthless. This is what we want. Valueless is worthless. We should never think that people who are not educated are people without any value, are worthless. So dislike and despise, when you compare these two, the better option is despise. Dislike is eliminated. Disown does not fit here. Refuse to acknowledge. Refuse to acknowledge means like refuse to offer, show gratitude, refuse to thank and all. Denounce is to express strong disapproval. Denounce means like making someone feel inferior, not agreeing to it, not supporting him and all. Does not fit this context. The answer must be option B. We should not look down on people who are not educated. Means we should not think that people who are educated are worthless, are valueless. The next one. In spite of his best efforts, the officer could not redeem his prestige. In spite of is a contrast indicator, must always connect a positive idea and a negative idea. The first idea here is his best efforts, positive. So second idea must be negative. In spite of is same as despite, regardless of, notwithstanding. These mean the same. In spite of his best efforts, the officer could not redeem his prestige is negatively charged. Could not redeem must be a positive word because we already have a negative word, could not. If you go for one more negative word, the second idea becomes positive because of double negation. A contrast indicator can never connect to positive ideas. Could not redeem his prestige. Re is a prefix meaning re or getting back, right? Getting back, that is redeem. The options are recover, raise, extend, fulfill. Recover means to return to a normal state. Redeem. He cannot redeem his prestige means he cannot recover his prestige. Because even though he tried really hard, he could not recover his prestige or get back his prestige. The same meaning. Raise means increase the level. In the paragraph, we are not talking about increasing the level, we are talking about getting the prestige back. Option B is eliminated. Extend the prestige. We cannot extend the prestige. Make something larger. A prestige cannot be extended. Option C is eliminated. Fulfill is to achieve or bring to an end. I fulfill your wishes. Making someone's wishes complete. That means making someone's wishes be true, come true. Does not fit this context. Eliminated. Recover, redeem. We're talking about getting it back. The answer must be A. So in spite of his best efforts, the officer could not recover his prestige. Could not get his prestige back. The next one. There is abundant supply of water for the crops. Positively charged. Supply is a noun, abundant is an adjective. Considerable, plentiful, adequate, sufficient, all these are adjectives. There is abundant supply of water for the crops. Abundant supply means more than what we actually require. Right? Something positive, more than what we actually require. It means enough and more for our convenience. Considerable means notably large in size. A considerable supply of water does not make sense. Eliminated. Plentiful, yielding great quantities. We're talking about quantity of water, right? There is plentiful supply of water for the crops. That means if there is enough and more supply of water for the crops, positively charged, synonym must be considered. Adequate is acceptable in quantity or quality. There is adequate supply. Adequate means what we require. Abundant means like more than what we require. A slight difference in the meaning eliminated. Sufficient is the same as adequate. Enough for a particular purpose. Sufficient supply means what we require. Adequate supply also means what we require. Abundant means more than what we require. These two are synonyms. C and D are synonyms eliminated. The answer must be B, pond. There is plentiful supply of water for the crops.